now tuned into the motherfucking greatest.
DJ Cadence.
Fellas, I'm ready to get up and do my thing.
DJ Cadence. Go ahead, Cadence, and make a march to your beat.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's your guy DJ Cadence, and we live in the studio right now. And I got my man with me who really don't need any introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We've been knowing each other for a long time. We've been doing a lot of big things here. So I just want to say what's up to my man Twansac live in the building. What's up, Twansac?
What it do, my guy? What it do?
Hey, man, I'm just chilling. I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here, man. How you doing? I see you in the city, man. Just chilling, cooling out.
Man, I've been locked up so long with the COVID, man. I had to at least come home and get my mom back right.
So it's bad out there in Phoenix, huh?
Man, it's terrible, man. I mean, it's kind of coming back around, but for a minute, we was the number one in the world with cases.
Wow, okay. Yeah, me and Twan was talking earlier, and Twan was like, man, he came in, the first thing he said, man, it's crazy, because ain't nobody wearing no mask out here, you know? So like, I guess out there, you got everybody wearing masks pretty much, huh?
I mean, it's definitely a real thing. I think a lot of people don't think it's real. And just because a person is healthy don't mean that they don't got it, you know? And on top of that, I'm right next to California. We got people from California leaving there every day and bringing that shit over here to us. And even on that note, man, I had to, send my prayers out to my guy. I know a lot of people heard about it. My guy, Greg the Hitman Williams, one that gave us our first shot back in the day. I hear he's doing good, but, he caught it for a minute, and all you can do is just keep your prayers up.
Yeah, facts. So shout out to Greg the Hitman Williams, glad you're feeling better. But Twansac, I know you coming into town and you got some things going on the 14th. So what you trying to do, man? What's going on?
We got a thing called the Throwback Classic with my boy Lil Flip all the way from Houston, Texas, man. Okay. November the 14th, man. With the restrictions out here, I need y'all to be in the building about 8 o'clock. We probably gonna go to about 12 if we can push it to about 1.
Throwback party with Twansac. Okay, that's dope. So how'd you get Lil Flip? I mean, that's huge, man. That's big business.
Man, me and Lil Flip go back, man, all the way when I first moved to Arizona, and this was back in 2004. And Lil Flip,
man, it's been that long.
That long.
Dang.
Yeah, 16 years.
Wow. Okay. So what's the difference between the music scene now and then in Phoenix? Like, what's changed? What's different about it now?
Phoenix back then was actually popping. Everything, the culture was there. There was a few artists, Hot Rod, Willie North Pole, that got picked up by Ludacris and 50 Cent. So the music industry actually was flocking to Phoenix to look for that newfound talent in the desert.
For sure. So speaking of finding new talent and everything, I know you've been doing your Diddy, you've been out working, but what you been personally on, like on your own, what you been doing?
Man, me personally, I've been working at just being a better person myself. Last year I lost my pops, went through a little depression spell, caught a gun case trying to help brothers, and so all that kind of set me back to the reality and going back to the basics. So I just worked on getting my credit, those are things I worked on, and just really starting back fresh to build my infrastructure to go towards this generational wealth.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. I know we've been talking about that for years, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to evolve and do more, more than what we did the year before, and keep pushing forward, so that was always something we really been big on,
Yeah, and it's just the greatest thing, that music, whether you make $1 million at it or not, if you blessed to be able to travel the world with it and take you different places, and you get to pick up on different cultures, you get to add that to your persona.
Facts.
And it's almost like going to college and getting a well-rounded education.
Man, it definitely is, man. It seems like we've been doing this since like 2003, just, grinding, going to all these places, just putting music out, so it's a good feeling for sure.
Yeah, I just really, when it comes to the music, going back to like what Cadence said, it even goes back further. It goes back to 2001. And that's when we first linked up, and in this crazy story, we went to high school together and knew of each other, but never had one conversation with each other.
At all. And it's like 20 years later now, me and you, we hang out more than what we do with the people who we used to go to school with.
And that's the greatest thing of trying to evolve. A lot of people don't evolve because they never leave their homestead. You see a lot of artists that follow their dreams and go out of town. They couldn't pop their town out, but wherever they landed, they popped that off.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's part of the growth, and a lot of people scared to even take that first step.
you like me and Twan always say, you'll never be a king in your own castle, and that's really what it is in the city or wherever you is. So I know we got people listening from everywhere. So no matter where you is, network and move around, because that's really how you gonna get successful.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened with Nipsey. Rest in peace to Nipsey.
Yeah,
he's a man that have good intentions. Revitalized his neighborhood. He had a cashless store. And because of that, he got killed.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about how different the game is now in music. I remember how when we first started, it was like we was cool with a lot of different groups. Big Face, we was cool with Gator Maid, we was cool with so many mobsterpreneurs. We were cool with all these people, but everybody did their own thing. We'll talk about that a little bit, and just how different it is now, and how people are networking together now.
Yeah, I mean, back then it was brand new. Technology had came to play. We can actually start recording our own records and mixing and mastering our own projects right out the living room, which at that time was unprecedented. So everybody, the music back then was the streets, and everybody was fighting for a space in this little section of 350,000 people to be heard.
Yep.
And so, us, we analyzed that, and we didn't want to be in that same fighting space, because eventually if the music was the streets, then, we either would have got locked up or somebody might have not be living in this day and age. That's how volatile it was. And so we just took the professional approach. It just made sense. Like, in order for music to be heard, we need to get it to the biggest lane that's in Kansas. And at that time, it was 93.9.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, to me, it was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the music now. What I like is the evolution of Wichita and the artists actually working together. And like back then, it was maybe a handful of artists that was dope. And that's just being honest.
Yeah.
In this day and age, everything that's coming out of the city is damn near dope, or else it don't come out. So the trend has been, the bar has been set. I think we set the bar high when we came out with the radio, and then once we fast forward to the 2010s, and those guys like the 8-0s that's prospering now, they all had the blueprint.
Yeah.
And they just took the blueprint and took it to a whole nother level as well.
Yep. And it's amazing to see people like Heavy and 8-0, to see them out moving. And, me and you was just talking yesterday how you said you pulled up to the gas station and people was listening to 8-0. That used to be us. You know what I mean? We used to drive down the street and people be bumping our music. I remember I would, I'd pull up and I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, that's me. So I roll the window down and I'm like, hey, that's me. Hey, that's me. And the people be like, yeah, I love this song too. And I'm like, no, that's really me. It's a great feeling.
We were like, because we had product on hand, and once we hit the radio, we didn't rely. We was moving a lot of records through the store, but we didn't rely on that. We took them records out the trunk, and wherever something was popping, we was pulling up.
We was there. We was there. Yeah.
We threw out. I'll never forget our first party that we threw. And that's the thing about Cadence. A lot of people don't know, man. This dude is super talented. I met him as a DJ. He got the keyboard. Didn't even know he can even play the keyboard. This man played the piano. This man was playing the beats. This man was in here recording. And then he would go record his own shit. He like, damn, this nigga, how the fuck you record your own self? He the one figured that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Record his own shit, mix and master it, and be an artist all at the same time. So I think Wichita, y'all pretty blessed to be in the presence of living legends.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. It wouldn't be nothing. I couldn't do it without you, because you was always the business side of it. And, even the stuff that I didn't understand, why are we buying these shirts? This don't make no sense. We about to go spend all this extra money. I barely got enough money to go to Quick Trip and buy hot dogs, but we got to go spend $200 on T-shirts. And then we get to the concert. And I go downstairs, I come back upstairs, and I'm like, hey, Twan, somebody want to buy a shirt. And Twan look at me, and Twan like, all them shirts gone. Yeah. Hey, they gone. We ain't even, the night just started. It's 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? All the shirts is gone. And that was something that I think that really separated us from
we
other
was
people.
just fearless. We didn't care. We would spend our last rent money to throw into our career.
Yep.
We was that confident that and people really rocked it, but I'll never forget that first show at Bruce Brothers, out there on South Seneca, and I just was amazed, like, damn, nobody knew us. You got to understand, we wasn't on the radio. this was our coming out party. And I remember we took 5,000 flyers and we shredded the whole city. And then that day pulled up, man, it was like the greatest feeling, like, man. And that was the introduction right there. And actually, I still got that on tape.
Yeah. Oh, you still got the
tape that on
too?
tape. That's 2002, July 2002, 18 years ago.
I bet we had some baggy jeans on.
Man, baggy. my shorts looked like they was capris.
Hey, man. Hey, some of them, we be looking at some of them pictures, man. I remember we did the Tall Town Shuffle. We did it, it was at Century 2. And this was when nobody else was doing stuff so you still can't do stuff at Century 2. But like Twan told me, he was like, I want to do something at Century 2. We're gonna do the Tall Town Shuffle. And it was like we talked to the people. They was trying to give us all these crazy numbers on what it was gonna cost. And if you ain't never been in a meeting room with Twansac, it's like it's a sight to see. You know what I'm saying? It's a sight to see because this man can talk somebody out of their drawers, no problem. You know what I mean? And you just be sitting there and you be like, how did this even happen? And before you know it, they giving you shit. You know, and you don't even know how it happened. You know, Twan is just that good with business. You know.
It's a gift. You know, I thank God every day. I actually got that from my grandfather, and you know, it's just eye contact. You know what I'm saying? I mean. Yeah. People will let you know everything about them if you stare them through their eyes. And I try to look you through your soul. Yeah. And if your soul comes back not as strong as my soul, then I know I'm going to win this meeting. Okay. You know, but I also play fair. You know, it's 50-50. Yeah. Yeah. You know, but you're not going to put a stigma on me and put me in the same box of other rappers and say, well, you're not supposed to get this venue. Mm-hmm. And I remember that she was like, and it's crazy how God works. Is the first show, only concert I ever been to Century 2 was Heavy D. I was 9 years old, and he was too, like the crowd was too big that we had to sit over here in the side, and Heavy D came out the side. I'm like, cousin, there go Heavy. We ran up on him. Back then the word was jamming. I said, man, y'all be jamming. He said, man, you hear what little dude said? He said, where y'all sitting? I said, we up here. Man, Heavy D came inside with us for the whole rest of the concert. What? You know, and so fast forward to now we sitting down in a meeting with Century 2. Yeah. And that's what one of the things I said, man, I remember as a kid, one of the best experiences I had was this Heavy D concert here. Yeah. You know, and when you in business, you let people talk. Let them talk first. And then by the time they talking, you can formulate your plan to be swift on your feet, and that's just my tactic. Yeah, and so many things we've done have never been done after we did it, you know, and it's like, it's amazing to think that we did a show by ourselves. We brought out the whole city, you know what I mean? Everybody that was rapping, that was doing their thing, we brought out people with us. We even brought the car on stage, you know, from the album cover with Cadillac Love, you know, and it came up off the top of the, you know, out of the bottom of the thing on the stage, and it was so cool just to be able to do that, you know, and it was just amazing, so many things that you've done in this city. So we definitely thank you for your you know, all the pioneering things that you've done, because you've really set a lot of people, or showed them the way to be able to do things, you know, if they would just, you know, just do it the right way. Absolutely. Well, I mean, and kudos off to you, because without you being there, I wouldn't have been able to. It would have just been a drawing on the board. 100, you know 100. What I'm saying? So, you know, I miss those times, and that's what keep me hungry to this day. You know, because especially when you think about all the autographs we signed, all the kids now hit me up through Facebook like, man, I was 10, I'm 25 now. When you coming back? Yeah, man. So Unique, man. Rest in peace, So Unique, man. He one day I went over to his house and I was getting some beats from him. And we were just sitting there talking, and he brought up Cadillac Love, and he was like, man, he said, I never thought that I could actually be anybody. And then he said, Twansac came to my school and he did Cadillac Love. And I was like, nigga, I was with him. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, Twan didn't go nowhere without me. I was his right-hand man, no doubt about it. And I was like, it was over there down off of West Street. And he was like, yeah. You know, and it's like, and then fast forward, I'm sitting in the studio with this man, you know, just singing and you know, and just what a blessed talent, man, that man was. So rest in peace to So Unique. You know, that was my man. Yeah, you know? and it's crazy you brought him up, because probably about 3 or 4 weeks before he passed, he sent me a long message about what you just said. Yeah, you know, and you know that part is worth its weight in gold. It ain't no monetary value when you can just change one life, or do say he's inspired And really, we didn't know. To be honest, excuse my language, we didn't know what the fuck we was doing
at all.
You know what I'm
saying? How many CDs did we make and it was on the right side of the speakers? We didn't have nothing on the left. I was sitting in the studio. Let me tell y'all, man, I'm a studio rat. I used to love just to sit in the studio and just listen to music, 4 bars at a time, just listening over and over again, trying to make sure the stuff was perfect. And we would sit there and do this. I'd be in there for hours. And I would give it to Twan. I'd go home and I'd be like, ooh, I can't wait to call him and tell him, for him to tell me how dope this mix is that I did. And I'd call Twan and I'd be like, man, what's up? How was the mix? He'd be like, man, it's only playing out the right side. Like, hey, man, Pro Tools now, it makes it so easy for you to be able to do it. We had a Roland, we had the VS 1680, we had the 2480, had a 2400, and it was like, even though it works a lot like Pro Tools, it wasn't the same thing where you could mess up shit on it, and hey, we was good for messing up some shit.
Yeah,
so.
and once that burner, once it fucked up, it was over.
It was a wrap.
And the burner was inside the machine. You know what I'm saying? We sitting there waiting for this CD, one song to burn for 45 minutes.
Man, them was the worst days. Sitting there waiting for them damn CDs, man. But speaking of CDs and sales, since we own that, I just wanted you to touch on this a little bit about how you are one of the first artists. I don't know if you're the only artist. I'm gonna say you're the only artist, but you are one of the first artists from Wichita that have ever been close to getting a gold record. So how did you find out about that, Twan? Tell him, man, that's big news right there, for real. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it was just last week. I was out with Tony, and Tony was like, man, I need to go see what's up with my plaques. And I'm like, plaques? I'm not even paying attention to what he talking about.
Yeah.
And the plaques are like when you see these DJs or these record producers, when they say your record goes platinum, you get that big plaque that the artist has. We actually went to that place where they make those plaques.
Oh, wow, okay.
And Tony was like, man, you need to check on your records right now to see where your record's at. You know what I'm saying? So he gave me the idea. I said, man, you know what? Because it's been out for a minute. So when I got back to Phoenix, I called the RIAA, who does all the tracking, and through the sound scan, and it said you had it was like 89-something thousand units. That basically all I need is 10,000 more, and it can be an official gold record.
Oh, wow. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Something that we made we're in the Conquistador Apartments.
Man, and that was actually made, back in, 2001.
Yep, the Conquistador Apartments, man. It's sitting in the back of the building, can actually make something go like that.
Man, we fucking recorded and played that song and performed that song so much.
Hey, when I tell y'all Twan does not like to do this song no more, like he makes me so aware of different things, because as an artist, like think about this, as an artist, you've been doing music for 20 years, you know what I'm saying? You've been doing music for so long, you got all of these songs, and everywhere you go, everybody want to hear this one song that you got, and it's like, I remember we used to have to tell Twan, I was like, Twan, you got to do Cadillac Love. Twan would give me a whole list of songs to do at a damn show. We'd be at this show and Twan I'd be like, man, so what we gonna do? He give me the whole list. It's my job to put everything together, lay it out and everything. And I'm like, Twan, where Cadillac Love? He like, shit, we ain't gonna do Cadillac Love. I said, nigga, we gotta do Cadillac Love. Like, what you mean we ain't gonna do? Man, I don't even want to do it. I'm tired of doing Cadillac Love. We better than Cadillac Love. And so I understand, like, I can imagine what it's like for Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? Where everywhere he goes, somebody like, you gotta do G-Thing. And he like, nigga, I'm tired of doing G-Thing. You know what I mean? I done got so many songs that's better than G-Thing, but everywhere I go, they be like 1, 2, 3 into the 4. I'm tired of hearing that,
It's definitely a blessing and a curse all at the same time.
Yeah.
And like now that we got older, now you always, it's a timestamp, because you can go back through all them albums we did, all that music, and I can remember where we recorded, the day, damn near down to the weather. And that's one of the things a lot of people take for granted as well. It's really your journal, so you got to be careful with what you write. In this day and age, you can pretty much fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You can buy popularity. Back then you had to earn popularity.
You had to earn it,
And you have to evolve with the times. I see a lot of older artists, and they get stuck in that, this is how I rap, this is how I'm going to do it. But, I mean, if you really, because I know how much this shit costs. It's not a cheap hobby, you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to do it, then do it the right way. It
For
ain't
sure.
no other way than the right way.
Yep. Man, so like going back to what we was talking about earlier about the Lil Flip show that you got going on and everything here. So talk about that a little bit more. You said that's going to be at Rock Island on the 14th?
Yep, 14th of November. You know, and it's one of those things that, you know, me and Flip, like I said, we've done a lot of shows together. You know, Flip, I almost take him as my brother, and it's also kind of a reintroduction to coming back to the roots.
Okay.
You know, there's a whole crowd, there's a whole set of people's kids that rock to our music that I need to get acquainted with.
Okay, facts. Yeah, I see him all the time, man. You know, and I know every time you come to Wichita and I say Twansac in the building, people's heads always turn. You know what I mean? And it's always love. You know, and I remember when I wouldn't say it wasn't love, because we always got love in the city. You know what I mean? But it was like the haters was just as loud as the people that was showing us support and stuff like that. And it's good now to be able to say, you know, yeah, Twansac's my guy, you know, and everybody is like supportive of it, and they understand the grind that you put in, you know, and even though they didn't understand like why we didn't take the deal from Universal and things like that, you know, they respect it so much more now because they understand that, you know, that you're a businessman. It was so much more than just us being rappers. You know, people don't know, like, they wanted all of everything we had. They was going to take my name, your name, everything that we did, you know, and for some crumbs that we had already made just from selling CDs in Wichita, you know what I mean? But then that wasn't even touching when we had went out of the city and done other things there,
And
you
we
know.
still had so much room to grow. I mean, keeping in mind, we didn't even expect to hit the radio
At all.
So we just prepared to, because Greg at the time, he was the only one that had the knowledge from the actual music industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we just kept getting you know, he was giving us the runaround, and we just stayed persistent. And just that you learn from the beginning, I just used those same techniques. You know, I stayed persistent. A dude got to tell me no 7 times, but it's like a kid. If a kid keeps saying, "Daddy, can I have this?" You're like, "No, Daddy, can I have this?" By the time he say that shit 6 times, you're like, "Man, go get the shit and leave me the fuck alone."
And that's almost how Greg was with us. You know what I'm saying? We kept ourselves in Greg's face, you know, 100% of the time, you know. But it was one thing that we did with Greg was, and I know Greg respected it, was that when Greg told us to do something, we did it. And then we came back with it even better than what he even expected it to be. Yeah. You know, so like when we took Cadillac Love to Greg, I remember him sitting in the chair and it's like he's leaning in the back of the chair and he's playing the song. And I'm a naturally pessimistic person. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at him, I'm like, he hates it. He hates the song. I knew it. We shouldn't have came over here. We should have brought him the other song. We got other songs that's better than Cadillac Love. I know we should have just did that, you know. And he gets halfway through the song and he stops it after Skills gets done singing, and he's like, yeah, you know, he likes it, it's good, you know, we got to get everything else together. We need the graphics for it, you know, we need to do this. He's telling all this, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, he's telling us this because he thinks that we ain't gonna go do all this stuff. What he don't know is that we was already on it. So by the time he came, so when he told us to do that, the next damn week, we back with a cover, graphics, everything ready to go. And he like, wow, he didn't have no choice but to play it. You know what I mean? It was an amazing feeling just to turn on the radio and to hear that, you know, just to hear our music playing and to know that all that work we put in was finally coming to something, you know. And like I said, that was one of our first songs. You had that song really before we really was. I mean, we was already doing Prophecy and we had a bunch of songs and stuff like that, but you was already going to a studio and you already had the ideas for Cadillac Love. I remember you was trying to get me to make the beat, but I didn't really know the song too well, and then you had got Skills to make the beat, and then that's really when it took off from there.
Yeah. So. I mean, the idea I remember as a kid, and it was my mom and daddy, one of the rare times that they was together, I remember this song playing. You know, I remember that beat, and I searched, you know, the internet wasn't popping like that yet.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Music hadn't been uploaded to the mass. It wasn't on YouTube, period. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I finally found that record, and I'm like, bro, this is shit that I want to get remade. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing, it was more of, you know, when you're doing your first albums, you try to make content that's based off of your life. That was our, you know, so.
That's all we ever wanted to do.
I love Cadillacs, you know. My dad loved Cadillacs, so I was like, well, shit, Cadillac Love, let's just, and the way Skills flipped it, because you had the right concept, but we just didn't have the right technology board. And then when Skills came in, he flipped it, and he kind of slowed it down a little bit. it made it a signature.
Yep.
You know?
I agree.
And now it's coming back. Like that's saying, like I'm listening to music, and they're sampling records back. Like that era is coming right back.
Yep. You're right, 100%.
You know, and shout out to cats like J. Cole's that stayed down with it, the Kendrick Lamar's that stayed down with the evolution of music as an art form.
Yeah.
And keeping it one. And man, J. Cole be talking shit to these rappers, man.
The Lil Flip concert's coming up at Rock Island Live. The doors open at 8 o'clock, so y'all need to get there early. You know, y'all know this quarantine stuff is still going on, so you know we gonna make sure that we be safe up there and everything like that. What you got anything coming up with Lil Flip other than that?
No, man. I'm just right now. I didn't feel like it was no need to invest into any music or drop any music this year because of one, COVID, two, you know, and now we got the, you know, presidential race and all that. So nobody's gonna really be paying attention because when I drop, you know, I'm supposed to hit you with some real life shit.
Yeah, and you want to be paying attention.
Yeah, I need undivided attention. So I just basically just building my network. Shout out to T. Neal. You know, it's finally good to get a real DJ behind you, a real network behind you. So now it's just the move is really, really calculated.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you know, I always think about like Roddy Ricch and how much money he must have lost because of COVID. You know, like the box, ball, and all that stuff came out right when, you know, all this the pandemic started happening. You know, I think about Mulatto, you know, like one of my favorite artists, Mulatto, like all that money she missed out on because of COVID and stuff like that. Not to say they did something wrong, but man, it's just a sad situation. I hope they get their money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and listen to what you're saying. So record labels lost millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So if you think that, for one, they gonna rebound, but this is the time where the independent has a shot because the record labels has lost damn near billions of dollars collectively. So they pocketbook they timid. They scared to put that pocketbook out there. So you get your shit together, you go sit down, your numbers is right, everything's lined up. Now you talking $3 and $5, $10 million deals.
Getting the real money then. Getting the real money. Well, Twan, man, I thank you for, man, sitting down and talking to us, man. You know what I'm saying? Much love. It's always good when you come into town, so I appreciate you. Always. So, yeah, man, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for checking in, man. We're going to do some more stuff. I'm sure when Lil Flip comes in town, I'm going to maybe have a couple things rolled up for him. We'll get him on here, talk some shit. So thank y'all for rocking with me, man. DJ Cadence, Twansac. Appreciate you.
Make sure y'all hit that website, twansac.com. Right now, if you put your name, email in the website, you're going to get the latest single I dropped, download it right to your email for free.
Hey, let's go. All right, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Be safe. Peace.